Hello, audience. My name is Claude Clark, and I usually come on saying that I'm doing this for YouTube or Facebook or whatever. But I need to get something clear. None of my videos have used the facilities at either of those places other than to upload. I don't even know how to use the cameras or whatever it is that the public, generally uses. All of mine are done within a computer system, and I could take the stuff down. I could put it up on Vimeo or any setup that is capable of running and storing films or video online. This project is being done for a review board. It comes up later this month, so like say getting rid of catching more than one bird with just one stone, and much of what I do is done that way. I've been an artist for about 55 years. Started in 1959, and I'll let you do the mathematical, see how close it comes to 55 years. So I started when I was a child. By the time I was 12 years old, I knew what I wanted to do. I also had an inkling or idea of how I needed to start. And once I got focused, I never strayed or meandered from that my basics. Okay, so what you'll be looking at is an electronic version of several steps. I'm not going to show you all the seven. About every 5 to 10 years, I was doing something different that relates to this project that I'm on now. Okay, and that's the way I work. I learned that from my parents. My mother was always projecting 5 years ahead. Okay, and I was determined I was going to do more than that. I could do 10. Okay, so that's the way I think. That's the way I operate. So things that I was doing 20 years ago, I would have to show you through slides, because our situation now is working much smaller space. A few years ago, I could go up and down on an elevator and show you maybe 15 or 20 years of what I've been doing. What I've done is I've taken some things out of a warehouse. I still have the 55 years to work with, but when you consider that, and items from those 55 years, when you consider how long it takes to develop each skill, what kinds of tools you're working with. Now we're in an age where you can show a vast range of material through the media, visual and sound, just off of a phone. We'll get it. You'll see later what I'm talking about when it comes to the phone. We're not going to dwell on that right now. Okay. For this electronic age, my first media was a slide. And the way I got the slide was during the 20th century, we had what were called cameras. They still use that term now, but we don't use cameras. We use visual computer. There has to be some other name, because what looks like a 35 millimeter camera is not a 35 millimeter camera. Okay, and you can do some of the same things you do with with film, except you program the camera what type of color quality you want. Just like you pick the film off the shelf and purchase it. It has the speed and everything like that. It could be used at day or it could be used at night. We can do that with a camera now. With the computer, visual computer component now, without any film. We can program that camera to make the colors warm, make the colors cool, be able to shoot pictures at night by just the lights from the street and so on. We couldn't do that before. You had to change your film. Now, you don't have to be bothered with film. You don't even have to have a flash. You just have to have good knowledge of light, space, because sometimes you're in a place with a high ceiling, that sort of thing, and you might need some lights or something like that. So you have a knowledge of your environment, and that's what you work from with this visual electronic device that people still call a camera. You have to realize a lot of things that we are involved in are connected with marketing. A desktop publisher means something in marketing, but to us, what are you talking about? What are you publishing? Are you publishing music? Are you publishing a book? Are you publishing a website? Okay, but most people know what a desktop publisher means when it comes to it deals with magazines and books and stuff like that. So your words are going to get distorted, and they're going to become what I would refer to as poppydock, because we don't use those words, or at least I don't use those words when I'm trying to explain something that I realize that they're promotional terms to sell a product, to get you to buy it, make it simple enough so that you will buy that product without having to find a word to get you to go to the shelf. Okay, this slide, around the 1990s, I was putting this slide into a device that's, I have something here, but it's too heavy to lift up and show to you. And we would take the picture of it, and push that, and then the slide came out. We didn't have the kind of device that we do now that we take pictures with. So this was the only way you could do it. You also had to use your brain and a light meter to determine what your exposure was. You could not see your picture like you do now. You had to develop it, or in some cases you sent it out to a lab. And in your mind, you had to already know Oops, we have a strange screen here. You had to know what the final product was going to look like. Okay, we'll stop with that, and we're going to go to the screen now. First of all, I'm wearing a shirt. Okay. Rather than continue putting, my father was an artist, rather than continue putting things in frames, you're going to have to contend with this a little bit because it doesn't, will make it disappear. Come on, disappear. Okay, because the screen and the computer do not match. The ones that I had just a few days ago, they've all burned out. Okay. So I'm using a consumer type screen. This is not the type of screen I use for doing my technical work. I can use it because I remember a lot of stuff. Okay, but this is for looking at movies, looking at TV, and that sort of thing. Okay, enough for the screen. This is how the product that I do now is packaged. Okay, this is how it's packaged, and I run this off on a scanner, printed in a or put it together actually in the computer. But I have a scanner device that is also a printer. I'm not going to bother to show you that. This is this right here. I get confused sometimes because this camera is reversed. It's not the way, not showing you actually. Okay, so I put a barcode on each item. This is what this is the way people buy it. Now, if they wanted to see or try on a shirt, this is what I have here. In time, different sizes as well as a picture and people trying them on. But I'll take the shirt, put it back on the rack, and get the package size of the shirt, and that's what they will buy. Okay. The reason why I did that, my father and I too, because I was involved in, we were both trained in Western art. Now keep in mind, I did work in two different, very, very different cultures of art. I'm an African artist. That's how I explain myself. He asked me, who am I? I said, well, where am I from? I said, I'm an African. He asked me, what country are you from? I said, I was been in the United States for 6 generations. And first ancestor came from the continent. We don't know much about it other than what we see in the census, or what I've seen in the census. Okay, now let's get back to the business of the shirt. So I got tired of seeing frames, and there was only one context in which the art could be used. You put it on the wall. Okay, I wasn't doing much better, even though I didn't, everything I did, you don't have to put it on the wall. I was doing sculpture, as well as doing artwork. Now, the The next thing we need to look at is some of the tools I used earlier for certain things. And we're not going to cover all of them. We're just going to go see a few. Okay. Now, the first thing we're going to cover is we're going to see the operating system that I use to connect all my work to the internet. Okay. This is Windows 7. All right. I first show you how we put a t-shirt online. Okay. First, we bring up an application that can receive the images for a company that prints them on a shirt. Okay. Choose the image from the it's been a few months since I've done this. Okay, copy. First of all, let's do it this way. Upload. Choose file. Okay. Pictures. There should be something that says shirt in here. T-shirts. Travel T-shirts. Okay. So I click on that. Notice it's giving me different types of files. What I'm going to do is use something from here because it may be in the format that they will accept. Doesn't seem to have any problem. It says, oh, I could use TIFF, I could use bump, I could use GIF, and PANG file. PANG, I guess that's what you call it. That's a Chinese version of type of file systems that are for images. Okay, now let's say I wanted to put this on black. I would click black, and then I would move the image or the screen, position it where I want it. Let's see, might want to stretch it. Oops. Go back. Put that same file back on there. Get some idea how long it takes, and then you decide in terms of the pricing and all of that. I'm not going to go in and just show you that it's a simple process to get your item print ready. Okay. Now, keep in mind, this is with another company. I've seen the process, so I know what's going on. I know how the shirt is set up, and there are inks used, and so on. All right. This is what my toolkit looks like on the right, and it has shelves in it. You can lift the black one up. You can see it's in an orange box, orange container. Down below are carving tools. There are chisels, and there's axe, and you see on the left hand side a turtle box. We'll see something similar to that before we let's see earlier stages before we conclude today. Okay. Next thing we're going to go to is another operating system. This is XP. Okay. The material that I place on the internet will look like this on XP first before I transfer it to Windows 7. And this is all what is called HTML, hypertext markup language. And it's done on a system that is very old. This is what is called Notepad. It's called Notepad. Okay. And Notepad was developed from an earlier system. Words in Notepad wrap around so that you can see what you're going to write right in the same box. Earlier system, editor that was used in DOS. Okay, these words don't wrap. This is exactly the same page. Exactly the same page, but displayed in DOS. DOS is a character interface. DOS is just the name of the operating system. For this case would be Microsoft DOS, MS-DOS. Okay, and this is you're viewing it in a Notepad editor. I'm sorry, in an editor. Okay. Now, all of the language would be in HTML. There are other languages that are similar or that are related to HTML that can be easily used. Now, this is what is called a drop-in. I don't understand the language of that, but I know how to capture it and then put it in place. This is the it's like a chat window that's on another computer that will display on your computer, and you use that device to carry on conversation with your prospects. That is, if they're on the internet, they're on your web page. Okay, and you can track and find out what page you're on by the instructions that you will see on your console. The person talking, they only see it as a little chat window, but you see a lot of demographics about them and whatever. through your window. The next thing I'm going to show you is the portion or software that's used to scan the slides. There's one button for preview, one button for scan. This is also same two windows that you see if you're doing a film strip, or if you're dealing a negative, and the negative will convert into a positive, even though it's a negative. I've done black and white, and I assume the color negative will do the same. We have a few, but I don't have any that, we have quite a few, but I don't have any that pertain to my work. Okay. Now, let's see. The last thing I'll show you here, before we go back to the Windows 7, is this is where the movies or the videos are compiled. This is where they're compiled, different videos that put together to make a movie. Okay, this is done on Windows XP. It pays to pay attention to the operating systems that come out, because they use certain softwares to promote their companies ahead of other companies. And in this case, they put a movie maker on XP. And then when they got ready for the next, this is Windows, they got ready for Windows 8, got ready for Windows Vista, and they got ready for Windows 7, there was no more movie maker, because the objective that they had were trying to achieve, it had already been done. Okay, so keep your mind on things that then you'll better understand how these things disappear or what's going on. Okay, now this is a folder. Let's see. It's a folder. Just trying to see what happened. See, you see all these folders here. Okay, this is how you organize your work. You keep it in different folders. Okay, I'll go back and I'll open that one. Now, back to Windows 7. And we compressed a lot of things into one, which I thought was going to be a short video. Okay. And again, it's being done for a board review, and I want to make sure I have all the material in it I'm supposed to. Okay, let's go back to the shirt I had on earlier. I was wearing this shirt. The image on this was the original was on paper, felt pen and ink. My dad used a felt pen, so I started out using felt pen rather than use a pencil, because he used it for sketches and I used it for finished drawings. Then also I took stamps and pasted on the paper. These are James Brown stamps. A lot of people don't remember them, but they, during the 70s, they were available at certain stores, just like Blue Chip and S&H, Green Step. And they were Attorney Donald Warden, Attorney Colin Mazur, was responsible for helping James Brown put these on the market, put those stamps on the market. So that was on there for a short time. The original drawing was in, I've never seen James Brown, but the original drawing was in his, in Augusta, Georgia, in his office, okay, hanging on the wall. It was bigger than what you see here. Okay. Now, what I didn't mention earlier, these shirts don't come in these packages. It's just something I do. Okay, and I think that, the person you sell them to has much better image of what you are doing, providing you give them a finished product, where it's supposed to look like when it's on the shelf. Okay, and the barcode, that's something I do. So I don't make the plastic bag, but I do make the barcode. Do that. Stores that you go to, they make their own barcodes. So why should I be any different? Okay. I'm going to try to keep in mind, because this is the last, oh yes, I have to show you the, okay. I'm going to try to keep in mind, because this is the last, oh yes, I have to show you the tools that you're going to be looking at this presentation on. Okay, honoring the ancestors. This was a catalog that was written by an anthropologist named, her name is June Anderson. Okay, it's all about my work, honoring the ancestors. This is work that's from the 1970s. Remember, I tell you, my art career is in 10-year blocks. That includes I've been giving you the long term for the things that are done using electricity, digital. We're in a particular type of electronic processing, digital age. Okay, these are just a few. It's the ones on the photographs are examples of my work. Oops. This is another, oops. This is another, I'm trying to line it up with the camera, and I don't know quite how to do that. Okay, that's much better. That's much better. Okay, and then let's see, turn it and move it like this. Okay. It was compiled here in San Francisco at the Academy of Science, and it was printed in Japan. and distributed out of the state of Washington for the San Francisco Academy of Sciences. I'm still having problems lining it up with the monitor. Okay, webcam. Now, I told you I wasn't going to show you this, but this is the scanner. You have to use the appropriate device for whatever you do. This only scans 35 millimeter, but it flatbed will scan too, but it doesn't do the kind of fine work that the film scanner will do. I'm sure they have all different sizes in the film scanner. I just used the okay. Remember this device. It went in here, and then I put a slide in there, which I don't have out right now. I put it away. And so you take this out. This is for negatives and film strips, negatives. Go through here. There are other attachments as well. And then in the back, if you have film strip or negative, you have a receptor that you can put here, and it helps you with the delivery process as the material goes through. Okay, now we move to the last stages. This is a turtle box. See, I'm always getting these things wrong. Come set camera. Okay, turtle box. Okay. It has a lid. Let's see. It's like this. This lid will come off. This is the first stage of the box. You saw something that was finished. You saw one in the catalog, and then you saw another one on a web page. Wherever I stop or complete, whether it's several years or several months, that I get back to it, I always leave it in a finished stage. This is the first stage for each of these two pieces. Okay. This happens to be out of lumber. Both of these, top and bottom, are made from lumber. The mistakes that many of us from different cultures, particularly I'm African, is that we don't realize that sometimes when we get things that are come from other, particularly Western society, that lumber, for example, is a sculpture. And that's your first stage. And if you don't want it to look like lumber, then you have to be conscious of the fact that you are starting with lumber, and then you proceed to absorb that. So my intention is always to be dominant. I'm a control freak. If there's something else is in the way of an art form that I'm dealing with, I'm going to move it. I'm not going to let you let that dominate the process or the type of work that I'm doing. This is a mallet. It's also a lady. These are arms. This is her body. This is her head. Okay, this is a mallet that we use. Now this one is a finished product. Finished when I mean it's gone through all the stages. Nothing else is going to be done to this. Okay. This is a finished stage, but it's not a finished product. Okay. This is supposed to be a self-portrait. This is supposed to be me. Alright. I'm sitting in a chair that has a back to it, a carved chair, carved stool with a back to it, out of one. Okay. These are the hollowed out spaces. This is what it looks like when you look down on it. There's different planes, different projections, these are things that you look for. Not everything aligned, but positioned so that no matter what angle you look at it, you get a very good view. Okay. Oh, yes. This is the last thing. This is the format that you're going to see all of these items on. Okay. You're going to see them in digital form on a handheld or palm-held device. This is like a note pad. Okay. We have another one here. That is also a notepad. Oh boy. It doesn't want to do what it should do. I have to get used to these devices. I tend to want to do everything fast, and these things are not going to let you do it that way. Okay. You use this all the time. I'm just learning to use it because I have to design software for it. And believe you me, it's designing for a pad or a phone is no comparisons to designing for a computer. It's an entirely different format. It's an entirely concept is entirely different way of seeing and thinking about certain things. Okay. Now, this is the way you're going to look at the movie. You look at this that I'm showing you now myself. You're going to be looking at it from this angle. Okay, you turn it this way, then it becomes a manageable. Uh, and you look at different pages. Let's see if I can get that. Having to work at it upside down. There, it goes back to video on this website, this application. There is another video that shows you how to operate this. Okay, and most of you know how to do it, but it just shows you how easy, how quick the pages come up, and so on. And you don't have to go from side to side. You just go up and straight up and down. Okay, and I think you will like that. That brings us to the end of our presentation. And I'd like to say a few words to the artists. What you saw is developed over, it's more than 55 years, over from 1957 to 1959, point where I started doing sculpture. I wasn't doing any when I was 12. I had the realization that I was going to have to learn, get some information on what I was attempting to do. My father was studying anthropology as a minor at Sacramento State College. You knew it as Sacramento State University. He would bring us books home, and they were on the shelf. I would do my homework, and when my parents were asleep, I would sneak in there and get his book or books. And I would stay up late. Sometimes I was up until 2 in the morning. And I would slip the books back on the shelf. He didn't know he'd reading his books at night. This is the kind of thing you have to be dedicated. You can't. You're just not going to just throw some stuff in the air and you think it's going to come down looking right. No, it's not. Okay, I was fortunate in that I did not have to learn how to be or focus all my attention on becoming a citizen of the Western culture, a functional person as an American, whatever that's supposed to mean, I don't know. But I could do just enough to get by, make sure my grades were up, high enough, and what time I had left, it was a burnout. Parents were aware later that I was staying up at 2 o'clock in the morning, just by the time they moved to Oakland, but I was doing that in Sacramento. And my dad would come in and try to get me to, close in and say, well, you need some sleep, going to school tomorrow. I never was late to school. I got there on time. And most of us don't have that option. But there are plenty of middle-class people like myself. They could have done something other than just, kind of go along with the flow. Do what they see everybody else is doing. No. If you have a chance, most of us have to learn the system, get by in this system. Those of you who have a silver spoon or whatever kind of spoon you want to call it, and you don't do certain things beyond certain capacities. You're just lazy, that's all. I'm not going to give you an out. I'll give the brother on the block an out, but I'm not going to give you an out. You're lazy. Okay, so what you want to do, whether you're artists of middle class or whether you're artists, you have to pull yourself up by bootstraps or whatever, keep in mind of things that you could push or direction do with your art. If you're from another culture, you have a opportunity that I didn't have. I had to bootstrap all of mine. Unfortunately, it was in a family setting where I was allowed and nobody messed with me. They left me alone. I could do that. Okay. You want to explore, if you have your culture, you want to explore possibilities of what you could do with this Western stuff that you're learning. Okay. You can go ahead and put it on the wall. You can go to museums, and that's good practice. At least you learn the procedures of how it's done in the West. I took a direction in that I got tired of seeing so many things that were supposed to go on the wall. If they went on the wall, there wouldn't have been enough wall space for them anyway. And I was in an area where I knew that art functioned. So I decided food, shelter, clothing. Let's try clothing. And that's what I did. So I still have to keep the level of the work at a certain perfection. But I'm able to put together somebody I can sell to almost anybody, any economic bracket. My dad, that's what he wanted to do. We printed posters of his work. But again, they go on the wall. Okay? And I wasn't any better off. I was thinking the same way. So, if you speak 5 languages, you got an asset. You have something that somebody else, very few people do. So don't listen to the person come along and tell you, say, you know, those languages are no good. You should speak only English, because that's the way it's going to go now. I've been to China several times. You need 2 languages. You need at least 2 languages. You need Chinese and you need English. So if you don't know what some of my other projects would be, that's one of them. Learn another language so I can communicate with the rest of the world. I can go to Thailand, or I can go to Burma. It's not Burma anymore, but that's what it's used to call. I can go to Laos and a number of countries in Asia. And as long as I speak Chinese, they will be able to understand maybe a second language, because that's how business is done. It's done in Mandarin, or it's done in Cantonese. And English, yeah, you can get by with English, but the second most important language on the planet is several dialects, or at least one dialect of the Chinese language. So go into the world with an open mind. Don't be poisoned by what your friends or what the media in your particular culture tells you to do, because it may not be some things they tell you may cripple you rather than expand your horizon and help you get a better view of what humanity has to offer. So good luck to you, and watch, look at many different things that can help you improve your skills and your career in art. And thank you very much. Bye.